southernmost point of the earth, and it is located, especially it is entirely located in the southern hemisphere. Okay, so the whole Antarctica is located in the southern hemisphere, and almost it is entirely to the south of the Antarctic Circle. Okay, now if you will see this, the shape of the continent is it is roughly circular in shape. It is circular in shape, and it is surrounded by Southern Ocean. See here, South Atlantic Ocean, Southern Ocean. It is especially surrounded by the oceans which are present: South Pacific Ocean, Southern Ocean, South Atlantic Ocean. So basically, although there are basically it is surrounded by the Southern Ocean, the Southern Ocean. Now the continent, as you know, that it is the coldest part of the earth, as it is located in the southern hemisphere. So 98% of the continent is covered of ice. So you can assume what kind of temperature, what kind of climatic condition it is having. Now because it is most part of the Antarctica, it is covered of ice, that's why it is known as frozen continent or your white continent. Okay, now it is colder than Arctic. Even if you compare it with the Arctic, it is most cold part or present on the earth's surface. And if you will find, if you will just see this area, you will find that it is the most coldest as well as windiest part which is present on our planet. And India, it has established 3 research centers in Antarctica, and that is your Dakshin Gangotri, Maitri and Bharti. These are the 3 research centers which are working especially in Antarctica, and time to time they are carrying out their research work regarding how to make life more possible here. Okay, now let's come to Europe. Europe is a small continent and larger only than Australia. Okay, means it is 6th largest continent in the world in terms of area. Now the Arctic Circle passes through this continent. Europe lies in the west of Asia. Europe and Asia together called Eurasia. It is surrounded by water bodies from 3 sides. That is, the Arctic Ocean lies to the north part, the Atlantic Ocean lies to the western part, and the Mediterranean Sea lies in the southern part. The Strait of Gibraltar separates it from Africa. To the east of it is joined with the continent of Asia. Europe has the most indented coastline among all the continents. That is the reason why it is having numerous natural harbors and ports. Okay, so if you will look to the world map here, you will see that, just have a look here. Here it is Asia and here it is Europe. As I have told you, Europe is the 6th largest continent in terms of area. So Europe is lying to the west of Asia. Here it is western part. So Europe lies to the west of Asia. Now see, this country, in this through this continent, the Arctic Circle passes through it, and as I have mentioned you that to the western part of Europe, Asia, actually Asia is in the western part of Asia, Europe lies. Now when Asia and Europe, they are taken together, they are known as Eurasia. Okay, Eurasia is actually the term which is used for the landform of Asia and Europe when they are taken together. Now see, this this continent, it is surrounded by the water bodies on the 3 sides, and if a landform which is surrounded by a water bodies on the 3 sides, it is known as peninsula. Okay, peninsula is a landform which is surrounded by water on 3 sides. So if you will see here, you will see that in this continent, the Arctic Ocean lies to the northern part. To the northern part, there is Atlantic Ocean of in the western. Here it is Atlantic Ocean, and Atlantic Ocean actually wait. So I am using this one, it is more clear, I think so it will be more clear to you. So if you are seeing here, it is Europe, and in the northern part it is your Arctic Ocean. Atlantic Ocean lies to the your western part, and your in the western part there is Atlantic Ocean, and your Mediterranean Sea. Mediterranean Sea lies in the southern part of the Europe. Now the Strait of Gibraltar, it separates it from Africa, and to the east it is joined by the continent of Asia. Here see, it is your Asian continent, the largest one. So to the eastern part it is joined by with the continent of Asia. Now Europe has the most indented coastline. Yes, if you will see that Europe has most indented coastline among all the continents, and to the east Europe has the most indented coastline among all the continents. That is why it has numerous natural harbors and ports. See, what is that indented coastline? See, it is a coastline which is having an uneven length. Okay, the length of the coastline is uneven. There are many cuts or indents in its length. See, these cuts form several creeks and inland waterways. That is the reason why Europe has natural harbors and ports. Why? Because when these indented coastline, they form an uneven length, and because of this there are different cuts or creeks which helps in the formation of natural harbor and as well as the ports. So I think so it is clear to you. Now let's come to Australia. See, it is the smallest continent in the world and sixth largest country in terms of land. It is the only country that is also a continent. It's very true. You will see that Australia is a continent also and country also. It is also called an inland continent as it is surrounded by water on all sides by oceans and seas. Yes, it is not inland, it is island. This continent is known as island continent because it is surrounded by sea on all sides. Yes, what is an island? Island is a landform which is surrounded by sea on all sides. Okay. Now, in the northern, it is surrounded by the Timor Sea and Timor Sea and the Arafura Sea, the Pacific Ocean in the east, the Indian Ocean in the south and west. A unique feature of Australia is the Great Barrier Reef. Yes, it is famous for its unique coral reef. So it lies along the northeastern coast of Australia. Okay. So just here everything I think so it is clear. And now let's come to major landforms. See, as I have mentioned you that the earth's surface is not even. Everywhere you will find the different types of landforms. So landforms is broad here according to your book. It has been divided into mountains, plateaus and plains. These are the three major landforms. Now first of all come to mountains. See, a mountain is actually a huge natural elevation of the earth's surface that usually has a summit or a peak. It is much taller and steeper than the area that surrounds it. Raised over 600 meters, raised areas which are above 600 meters above the sea level are generally considered as mountains. So what is the criteria to call the landform as a mountain? It should be a raised area over 600 meters above the sea level. Mountains have steep and gentle slopes. Yes, they have basically the gentle slopes. Now, types of mountains. There are different types of mountains. Okay. So, on the basis of the formation and their physical characteristics, the mountains have been divided into fold mountains, block mountains and volcanic mountains. Here just have a look in this world map. There are the different mountain ranges. Here I have told you about the Andes mountain. Okay, in North America. Then here it is in South America, there is Rocky. In your India, there is Himalayas. All these brown color, this brown color has been used to show the mountains. Okay, so these are the major mountains of the world. Now, on the basis of physical characteristics and the formation, the three types of mountains are your fold mountains, block mountains, and volcanic mountains. Now let's first come to these fold mountains. See, what are fold mountains? See students, now I will not move to line by line because already the video is getting very long. So it is I don't want to go for the long video, it will be problematic for you children also. Now see, just I'm explaining what are fold mountains. So what are these fold mountains? When plates, tectonic plates, okay, when the plates collide, when they collide and push up against each other, the land in between rises up to form crests and troughs or valleys. These crests thus formed on the earth's surface are actually the fold mountains. So when the layers of the earth crust, they are compressed or pushed against each other, the crust folds upwards, they move in the upward position. Why? Because of the intense high pressure, and thus they form high mountain ranges which are known as fold mountains. Now these fold mountains are basically of two types, that is your young fold mountains which are formed about 25 million years ago, while the old fold mountains which are formed over 250 million years ago. So the the Alps of Europe, the Himalayas of Asia, Rockies of North America, and Andes of South America, these are the examples of your young fold mountains. Okay, they have been formed about 25 million years ago. Now these fold mountains, these young fold mountains, they have actually very rough and uneven, the fold mountains, what is the kind of texture they are having? They are having rough and uneven features. Okay, the peak will be conical, you understand, like this, conical. Okay, so the peak is conical, and while the feature and texture is very uneven and rough. The Aravallis in India, the Appalachians in the North America, and Urals in Russia, these are the example of your old fold mountains. It means they are formed about 250 million years ago. Now they have rounded or almost flattened features. They are not conical like your young fold mountains. They are having the rounded structure or the flattened features. Okay, means their height is very low in comparison of young fold mountains, and they are basically because of the erosion process. What is erosion? Running away of the upper surface of the earth by the agents of by the agents of nature like your wind, water, air, etc. So erosion, due to erosion process, the surface of the old found mountains have been degraded a lot. Okay, now let's come to block mountains. See, as I have mentioned you that under the earth, due to intense heat and temperature, there is always a movement. Okay, and because of these earth movements, what happens? Sometimes deep cracks or faults develop, okay, through the crust of the earth. Now the blocks of land which lies between these cracks are pushed up to form mountains in between, and these mountains are actually the blocks that are pushed up are termed as mosques. See students, because of the earth movement, there is a crust formed in the on the earth's surface, and because of the different large chunks, or you can say the deep breaks which are formed on the earth crust, these cracks have, these raised blocks or cracks have host or block mountains. The lowered block is known as graben or rift valley. Okay, the lowered part of the block, these blocks are known as rift valley or graben. Now the block mountains have edges and level surfaces. Okay, the Rhine Valley and the Vosges mountains in Europe are some of the examples of your block mountains. Now let's come to the volcanic mountains. Now, what are volcanic mountains? See, as rocks deep inside the earth melt, they form the magma. When the buoyancy of the magma and the pressure from the gases in the magma trigger an eruption through an opening of vent, it is called volcanic eruption. Okay. Now, this magma, which is called lava, when it breaks through the earth crust, okay, often eruptions are accompanied. When these eruptions occur, even along with this lava, you will see the rocks, ashes and gases come out. Over the time, when these rocks and lava cools up and pile down the surface, building up the volcanic mountains. Yes, what are volcanic mountains? These are formed especially due to the volcanic activities. And I have mentioned you what are the different process which goes through, which helps in the formation of this volcanic mountains. Now, what are the examples of volcanic mountains? Your Mount Fuji in Japan, Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa, Mount Vesuvius in Italy, and Mount Pelée in West Indies are some of the examples of volcanic mountains. Now, let's come to the what is the vitality of mountains, how mountains are or what is the advantage or usefulness of mountains. Now, see, glaciers in the mountains are the source of all major rivers in the world. Yes, even your Ganga river, it is very true that glaciers, they are the major source of water. Because all these major rivers of the world, they get the water, they get their source from these glaciers which are found in the mountains. Suppose your Ganga, the river Ganga, which is the longest river in flowing in India, that gets its source from the Gangotri glacier. And if there is no mountain, how we will have glacier? If there is no glacier, how the river will get its source? Now, second one, mountain also determine the climate of a region. Yes, it's very true. Suppose in your India, we are protected by cold winds, okay, which comes from the north. And how we are protected? Because we have Himalayas in the northern part. Himalaya is standing like a wall and protecting us from the cold winds which comes from the north. Okay. Now, mountains are also having, it is a home to a rich variety of flora and fauna. It's very true. Mountains, because it is, you can say it is a natural home to the rich variety of flora and fauna. Flora and fauna means your plants and animals. Okay. So, for the wildlife as well as for the plant and the different kinds of vegetation, these mountains are the natural home. Okay. So, that's why it's very essential. Now, next, mountains provide, the mountain forests provide timber, fuel, fodder, shelter and other products like gum, resins and honey. Yes, it's very true. We get different kinds of products from the forests which are found in the mountain area. Suppose in your Himalayan area only, you will see the Shivaliks, in Sivalik, especially in the Sivalik region, you will find the dense forests. So these forests provide a variety of goods like your timber, your gum, resins, honey, and medicines even too. Now, next, mountains are also a rich source of minerals, no doubt. See, today minerals plays a vital role in the development of the country. So these minerals we get from the mountains, okay? And all over the world, the scenic beauty of the mountains attract tourists for their beauty, camping and adventure sports. Yes. See, even in our country, Himalaya, the Mount Everest, people go for adventurous sports. So, mountains also helps to refresh the people by providing the different kinds of adventurous sports, as well as it also encourages tourism industry. Because suppose in summer vacation, people often visit hilly areas or mountainous areas because it is having a good climatic condition there. It is not very hot and having it is having a moderate climate which is enjoyed by the people. So these mountains, not only for the climatic condition but also for the natural beauty, people move to these places, mountainous areas, whether that is your Kashmir, whether that is your Himachal Pradesh, or whether that is your northeastern parts of India. So this encourages the tourism industry, provides a lot of opportunity of job to the people. Okay, now let's come to the plateaus. I don't think so there is any problem what is the how the mountains are important for us. Now let's come to plateaus. See, plateau, what is plateau? It is a large area of raised flat land. It is also known as tableland. So, sorry for the intervention. What is plateau? Plateau is actually a large area of raised flat land. And why it is called tableland? Because it is having a flat or leveled top. Okay, that is the reason why it is called a high plain or tableland also sometimes. See, it is having steep slopes at least on one side it will have a steep slopes. Okay. Now, the height of plateaus varies from several hundred to several thousand meters. Yes, just like mountains, you can say plateaus can be also young or old. As we have seen, there is young fold mountain, old fold mountains. Here, plateaus can be also old and young. Okay. The Deccan Plateau in India, suppose it is one of the oldest plateaus in the world. So the Deccan Plateau, which is found in India, it is one of the oldest plateau in the world. Now, what are the different types of plateaus? The first one is your intermontane plateaus. Now, what is this intermontane plateaus? Simply, it is a plateau which lies between the large mountain ranges. So, what are these intermontane plateaus? The plateaus which lies between the large mountain ranges, like your Tibet plateau. It is one of the finest example of intermontane plateau, and even this it is known as the highest plateau. This Tibetan plateau is known as the highest plateau, and that's why it is known as the roof of the world also. Okay. Apart from this, your Peruvian plateau, Bolivian plateau, Mexican plateau, Colombian plateau, these are also known as intermontane plateau. Now let's come to Piedmont plateaus. Now what is this Piedmont plateaus? These are also known as border plateaus. Okay, sometimes it is also known as border plateaus. See, such plateaus are either bounded by the ocean or by plains. Either it will be surrounded by the ocean or by the plains, like your Malwa plateau in India or the Appalachian plateau in the USA are examples of your Piedmont plateaus. Now come to dome shaped plateaus. What are dome shaped plateaus? See, these plateaus are formed when the landmass is uplifted in such a manner that the middle portion is raised and the sides are rounded. Means the sides will be rounded while the middle portion will be raised. So your Chota Nagpur plateau in India and Ozark plateau in USA are the example of dome shaped plateau. You have seen the dome. Just like the structure of dome, these plateaus have the shape. Now come to continental plateaus. What are continental plateaus? See, these plateaus are formed either due to the upliftment or extensive spreading of lava on the earth's surface. Means either due to the forces, internal forces of the earth, there is upliftment of the land surface, or the extensive spreading of lava. These mountains are formed. Okay. Now, these are very extensive plateaus which are generally away from mountainous areas but are surrounded by oceanic coasts or plains. Like just for example, you can take the Siberian Shield, the Canadian Shield, the Brazilian Shield. These all are the continental plateaus. Now come to volcanic plateaus. See, what are volcanic plateaus? See, after volcanic eruption, lava spreads over a large area or over a large region. See, the plateaus which are formed by the volcanic activities. If in short I want to mention you what are volcanic plateaus, it is simply the plateaus which are formed by the volcanic activities. Okay, and what are the example? Deccan Lava Plateau of India and the Colombian Plateau of USA are its best example. Now let's come to the importance of plateaus. See, plateaus have rich mineral deposits. Yes, it is very true. Plateaus are the houses of rich minerals. See, minerals, as I have mentioned you, they are very important, whether that is your gold or diamond or other like iron, coal, manganese. These all minerals are very important. Okay, even in India, the Chota Nagpur plateau, it is having a vast sources of iron, coal, and manganese. So ultimately these plateaus, they are the houses of minerals, and minerals are very essential for the development of the nation. Now, the rich black soil of the volcanic plateau is rich in nutrients. Yes, the rich black soil, which is especially formed by the volcanic activity of and found in the volcanic plateau, it is very rich in nutrients and thus very useful for the cultivation of cotton, sugarcane, and wheat. It is very beneficial. Yes, as it is rich in nutrients, and especially you will see in the Maharashtra region and in the other your Deccan areas, the black soil is especially useful in cultivation of cotton. Now, in plateau areas, several waterfalls form when rivers fall from a height. Yes, it's very true. These waterfalls, which are found in the plateau areas, they are the source, because in the plateau areas, when a water fall from a height, it gets the shape of waterfall, and these waterfalls attract the tourists. There is no doubt in this. Now next, many plateaus have beautiful scenic spots and therefore attract many tourists. Yes, it is true that there are many many regions where people are attracted by these plateaus, and thus they not only generate the income and job for the people, but also helps the government to establish the tourism industry. Okay. Now, here you can go through in the map, you can see just the major plateaus and plains from the red point. Sorry, the red color is used to signify the major plateaus of the world. Okay. Like in India, here it is Deccan Plateau, the Tibetan Plateau, the highest plateau of the world, known as the roof of the world, Central Siberian Plateau, Canadian Shield. These are the major plateaus of the world. Now next, let's come to plains. Plains. What are plains? Actually, plains are simply the broad, stretched level of land that has no great changes in elevation. Or simply you can say a large stretch of flat land. Okay, according to your book, it is a large stretch of flat land that is known as plains. And plains can be extremely flat or slightly undulating. Okay, so in terms of elevation, you will find there is no changes, no great changes. Okay, change can be a very minor, it can be of very minor terms. Now come to types of plains. On the basis of formation of on the basis of their mode of formation, the plains can be of various types. Now, on the basis of formation, we have divided the plains into different types, that is structural plains, erosional plains, depositional plains. Now, what are structural plains? See, these plains are formed by the upliftment of the land because of endogenic forces. What is endogenic forces? See, the forces, there are two types of forces I have told you, which are responsible for the formation of these landforms. One which occurs inside the earth, and one which occurs on the earth, above the earth's surface. So the forces which takes place inside the earth, it is known as endogenic forces. So the structural plains are simply the upliftment of the land which is formed because of the endogenic forces. Okay, and your example is Great Plains of the USA, the central lowlands of Australia. These are the structural plains example. Now come to erosional plains. See, simple, if you know the meaning of erosion, you can simply define erosional plains. It simply means the plains which are formed by the process of erosion when the agents of erosion works constantly to make the land flat. Yes. The plains, what are erosional plains? The plains which are formed by the action of various erosional events like your running water, wind. These are the various erosional agents, and because of their erosional work, the level of the land becomes flat. That is erosional plains, and your example is northwestern Europe and North America. Now come to depositional plains, the last one. See, it is formed, the depositional plains are simply formed by the deposition of debris which are especially brought by the erosional agents. As I have told you that what is the meaning of deposition? Means to deposit the things. So the plains which are formed by the deposition of debris are simply the materials which are brought by the running water, winds during the process of erosion. Okay, so the plains which are formed by the deposition of debris which are brought by the agents of erosion. Now, examples are your loess plains of China, Kashmir Valley in India, coastal plains of India, Kanki plain of Indiana. So these are the various examples of your depositional plains. Now let's come to the other importance of plains. What is the importance of plains? See, as the plain areas have fertile soil, good rainfall and proper irrigational facilities, they are very much good or favorable for the cultivation process. See, that's why this is the reason in where there will be a large part of the country which is having the plain areas, their agriculture will be the main occupation, because plain areas are most suitable for agriculture because of the fertile land, because of the proper irrigation facilities, because of the good rainfall. Now, if you have a good cultivation, definitely you will be able to feed the large population. Now, next one. Good roads and rail networks can be easily built in the plains. Yes, it's very difficult to build in the plain, in mountainous area. If you want to build the road or the railways, it's very difficult and expensive also. But in the plain areas, it's not too costly also, and it can be easily built also. So in plain areas, that's why you will find a good network of transportation facilities. Now next one. See, as these plain areas are having good transport facility, good water facility, good communication system, large resources, so that's why it attracts human population. That's why in plain areas you will find huge population. Okay. And as these plain areas, they are having these all facilities, they also attract the industries. You will see large number of industries are located in plain areas because of facilities of, because wherever you want to establish industries, you will need a good transportation, good communication, good water transport facility, cheap labor facility. So ultimately all these facilities are available in the plain areas. Now they are also rich in minerals like limestone. Now last topic, that is your other land forms, which is island, peninsula and isthmus. See, island simply it is a piece, it is a land which is formed, which is surrounded by water on all sides. What are land? Islands. Island is a landform which is surrounded by water bodies on all sides. Example is your Greenland, Great Britain, Madagascar, Cuba, Sri Lanka. Greenland is the biggest island in the world. Now peninsula, it is a landform which is surrounded by water on three sides. Okay, your example is Indian Peninsula, Californian Peninsula and Korean Peninsula. Now isthmus is simply a narrow strip of land which joins, it is a narrow strip of land which joins the two big land masses, okay, with water bodies on either side. Your example is your Isthmus of Suez, Isthmus of Panama. So now I don't think so there is any problem in the chapter. So students, if there is any problem, please mention me in the comment. Today I am giving you this video which covers up only the landforms, and although the video is very long, so today I am not going to finish the water bodies in this. I will give the separate video on the water bodies. Okay, take care, and please subscribe the channel. If there is any problem, mention me in the comment. Thank you.